On the NPP, the party is asking the Member of Parliament for Fomena constituency, Andrew Amankwa Esiama, to with immediate effect abdicate his seat in Parliament. The reason? Well, the party argues the MP automatically relinquished his seat after filing to seek re-election as an independent, citing Article 97 as the basis for the demand. The MP refused to contest in the party's primaries after alleging infractions in the voters' album. Let's listen to the party's General Secretary, John Boedu.
We've not yet received a response from the Speaker.
What about your member who is in Parliament as your member of Parliament?
We've not heard from him. Initially, this move was initiated by the regional party in Ashanti region. His attention was drawn to Article 3(9) of our Constitution. That says that a member of the party who stands as an independent candidate against the officially elected member of the party, or who joins or declares his or her support for another political party or for an independent candidate when the party has sponsored a candidate in a general or by-election, automatically forfeits his or her membership of the party. And his attention was drawn to this part of our Constitution. He was invited severally to explain to us and also draw his attention to the fact that if he decides to file against the official candidate of the party, he automatically forfeits his membership. So we are only drawing the attention and notifying the general public that all those who will also follow suit forfeit their membership automatically. I think that it is also clear that within 60 days to election, it will be difficult to, if a member resigns or dies or vacate his position, as in this case, to have a by-election. So that is clear. The only thing that we want to send across is that you join a party based on your understanding and your agreement of what the constitution of the party is. So you don't renege on that and decide to do things on your own. You also have the national constitution that also is clear that if you are elected to represent a party in Parliament, you have no right to either decide to be an independent candidate or join any other party or even cross carpet. And this is clear. We've had several examples of it happening in our fourth Republican Constitution and dispensation. I think that we just want to send a clear signal to all that the party is not going to countenance a situation where members of our party.
So that's John Boedu, NPP General Secretary there. Well, some members of Parliament have been speaking to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo on this particular matter. Joseph is standing by first with Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu.
Arising out of death, regrettable as his death is, by the provisions of Article 1126 of the Constitution, there is a time limit to the conduct of by-elections, and the combined effect of Article 1125 and 6 is clear by the ordinary meaning that there shall be no by-election in the Mfantsipim constituency. What we need to do is for the Electoral Commission to work with the New Patriotic Party to find a replacement of the candidate upon the fact that he died after filing within 10 days within the meaning of CI 127. That is all. Basic. But for an impression to be created by you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, that a candidate has so been determined for a by-election. Which by-election?
So, Mfantsipim wouldn't have representation at least for the next 2 months. Is that fair to the people of Mfantsipim?
That is what the Constitution contemplated and envisaged, that when the time period is too close to an election, you have barely 2 months to the election. And therefore, within the meaning of Article 112, there shall be no by-election. So Parliament, for the time being, will have to move on, recognizing that there is a loss of one important member until the conduct of the general elections of December 7th, 2020.
So just for the purpose of education, so for example, in Fomena, where the MP has left the party, for example, is that likely to be the case as well, that if even the seat is declared vacant, there as well, a by-election wouldn't happen, regardless of the circumstance, whether death or by regular vacation of seats, there won't be by-election?
We are studying the Fomena case very well, and we are studying it within the meaning of Article 112, marrying it with the provisions of Article 94, whether he has become independent. He did not walk to Parliament as independent. What his status would be within Parliament is a matter that we are studying very carefully with our constitutional law advisors.
It's categorical that once you leave the party that brought you, then automatically the seat has to be vacated.
In this matter, did he leave or he was sacked? Leaving means he took a voluntary act. This is an involuntary act. That's why I say we are studying it. When we are conclusive with our finding, we make public what we think, whether he should be vacating his seat or he should continue to be a member of Parliament. I understand that there's some correspondence to the Speaker of Parliament.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. Once we study it, we'll study it within the context of Article 112 and 94.
The last thing I would ask, do MPs really need private police bodyguards, on them all through? Some say it's taking too many men off operational duties, up to 200, in the long term 800. That will to a certain extent have affect police operations.
MPs are citizens of Ghana, basic. Like any other citizen of Ghana, they deserve the protection of their personal safety and security. What Parliament is simply doing, arising out of a need, is to demand an elevation for the personal protection of MPs within the meaning of the privileges and facilities guaranteed them as Article 71 office holders.
Should professors at the university be asking the same after one of their colleagues was also killed?
They are citizens of Ghana. Thank you.
So you heard my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gapo, our parliamentary correspondent, speaking to Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu on a myriad of issues, including, government's decision to deploy 200+ men for the protection of MPs, as well as the issues surrounding Fomena, the Fomena MP, who has decided to go independent. The NPP has written to the Speaker informing him of their decision to expel him from the party, as well, of course, as the Infantiman issue. He says the leadership of Parliament is studying the Fomena issue. But let's stay on the Fomena issue because Dr. Rashid Draman is Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ACEPA. He joins us on Zoom from Burkina Faso. Doc, thank you very much. A lot of thoughts on this particular development. What are your own thoughts on this issue concerning this NPP MP who's decided to go independent?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think he has violated a constitutional provision, and the only option I believe open to the NPP is what they have done, to write to the Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker, to ask that the latter applies the rules as it were, in terms of making sure that he is taken out of Parliament.
But we're told that he was in the House today. So if he indeed is still in the House, going on the floor, participating in parliamentary activities, who is he representing if he's no longer a member of the party?
Well, maybe perhaps the communication hasn't gotten to the Right Honourable Speaker yet. It's one thing we see in this in the media, and it's another thing maybe having Parliament having officially received a letter and brought to the attention of the Right Honourable Speaker. So I'm just speculating that might be what the case might be. And my general comment on this is that look, we are a kind of law-abiding country, and if we have a constitution and there are provisions in the constitution, I think we shouldn't try to create chaos in our lawmaking body itself. I have seen many countries where situations like this have created, a chaotic kind of environment in a parliament, and then the parliament became ungovernable. At one point, you don't even know who belongs to which party. We don't want our parliament to descend to this level. So I think the action being taken by the party is very much in the right direction.
All right, and per the parliamentary procedure, what happens next if, with this a letter that the NPP has sent to the Speaker informing him of the party's decision, what happens next per parliamentary practice?
Well, per parliamentary practice, I think what happens next is that, as you were saying, why is he in the House today? For instance, if the letter and the communication is acted upon, then he has no right to be in the House. I mean, and if he refuses and shows up there, I think the marshals are there, and that's a role that they play. Of course, I mean, there are various procedures in terms of Parliament notifying the Electoral Commission and other related bodies about the vacancy that exists in Parliament, and then the necessary processes are taken to make sure that this vacancy is filled. As you know, everybody has to be represented. All the constituencies in Ghana have to have a representation, and we can't have a situation where even if it is 2 weeks to election, a seat is vacant for one reason or the other.
But as the Speaker indicated earlier, with 2 weeks to the election, or less than 2 months to the election, we cannot hold a by-election. So if he's not in the House, if he's been expelled by his party, who then represents the constituents?
Well, I guess if the Speaker, I haven't heard this, if the Speaker has said that because it's 2 months to elections, I mean, general elections, we cannot have by-elections, I have not heard that. But if that's what the Speaker says, then we have a situation where one circumstance that we are dealing with, one situation that we are dealing with is coming to complicate this. And in that case, there will be all kinds of interpretations constitutionally, and the constitutional lawyers would have to be the ones speaking to this.
All right. Many thanks. Dr. Dramana, he is a parliamentary expert, bringing his thoughts there.